Hey everyone, Mitch coming in from not the Commander's Corps studio, so yeah, please excuse any small differences that you might not be expecting, like, the audio being maybe slightly off. I'm with my travel setup right now, and yeah, obviously the background is slightly different too, so there we go. Regardless, on today's episode, I've got a really exciting one for you. Gonna be talking about a card that I am pretty happy doesn't actually exist. Now, when it comes to these kind of, playtest cards, I believe Gavin was the one who was making them and showing them off at Gen Con. There's some really cool ones and ones that I'd be really excited to see, including one on the Colossal Dreadmaw. No, I didn't say Colossal Dreadmaw, I said the Colossal Dreadmaw, because of course there's just one of them, right? Or the main one, I guess. Anyways, make sure you check out that episode at some point. Regardless, yeah, let's jump into it. Confider of Ages. I am really happy that this one does not exist, because, well, I think it'd be probably a bit too easy to win. So let's jump into it. And actually, I did make a custom version of this card, so let's go over to that if I can actually get there. Here we go. Confider of Ages. This is just my custom version to make it easier to see. It's using the same text, obviously. A 0/0 legendary creature, human wizard. So yes, it can be your commander. It is 5 colors. It is Wooburg. And here we go. Jen gets ++1 for each different year of release among other non-token permanents you control. Now, there is reminder text in the original. I didn't include that in this one, but basically, hey, if an actual card has, is from 1993 or whatever, cool, or 1994, 5, 6, 7, you're going to be getting a different amount of power based on the number of different years that you have across all of your non-token permanents. Now, keep that in mind, because obviously, if there were tokens, you could do some crazy things. Like, just think about, like, okay, Kranko doubling up goblins, and then, hey, yeah, there's goblins, like, from every year since 93, pretty much, probably. So you could pretty easily get to that number. Of course, there's easier ways to get to that number as well. Now, this does include, again, it says non-token, but includes, like, everything, including lands. And so that's pretty easy to say, oh, yeah, I just got a bunch of basics from every single year or whatever, essentially, in your deck. I mean, you're going to be running, like, 37 lands in your deck, around that-ish, depending on your deck. And yeah, you can have one from every different year. I mean, obviously, you have a little bit of overlap, but still, keep that in mind. Also, on top of that, and this is what makes the card absurd, obviously, is when it attacks, if its power is 30 or greater, you win the game. Now, I probably would be like, I'd be more okay with this if this was just like, hey, the defending player loses the game, because if you can already get Gen through anyways, they're probably going to lose. But, yeah, just winning the game just for an attack trigger on this is pretty crazy, because yes, it would take a long time to actually get out 30 different permanents that are non-tokens that are from every single year of Magic, essentially. But that isn't the requirement, really. The requirement is just that if Gen's power is 30 or greater, okay? So obviously there are ways that are a bit easier to pump Gen. Now, obviously Gen's just going to get some inherent pump from your permanents. I mean, again, if you use lands that are from every single different year or whatnot, essentially, I mean, some overlap, sure. Even just by getting Gen out, let's say, without anything else on turn 5, sure, Gen's already a 5/5. Now, 5 is a long ways away from 30, but of course, there's some very easy ways to get Gen to 30. And we are getting more and more of them lately. So yeah, there's some pretty exciting things that you could do with this one. I personally am glad that this is not an actual commander that we might see. I mean, I guess, again, playtest cards. We have seen kind of concepts for playtest that very well, are cards or inspire cards or, might become cards. But this one, I'm hoping not, but if it is, and also if you just are interested in this and want to play with it, first of all, please ask your playgroup first, or those at your LGS first, if they're okay with that. If they are, great. Proxy the card, because obviously you can't go out and purchase this card currently. I guess maybe there's one version out there. I think there was like the playtest version that Gavin gave out as a prize, apparently. But yeah, you really can't purchase this card. And so, yeah, proxy it and make sure you check out these budget buys and price your picks that I'm going to go over. So budget buys, again, are going to be cards that are in my budget, cards that are less than $1, and the price of your picks are cards that are outside of my budget. So again, if you were to build around this hypothetical commander, what would you do? Or I guess hypothetical potential commander. Maybe someday it becomes one. Well, let's jump into those budget buys first. And kind of like I mentioned, I guess the direction that I would go, I think the easiest direction to go with this and a focus on just getting a base level power for Gen is going to be with ramping, like, rampant growth. Search live for a basic land, put on the battlefield tapped, then shuffle. Very simple, very effective. Obviously, ramping is huge in Commander. Getting more and more resources is going to get you ahead of your opponents. And if all you're doing is ramping, you're able to, cast this ramp spell, which leads into this other ramp spell. And again, every single time you can kind of go curate. Again, if you run pretty much all basics in this deck, and yeah, I've run plenty of 5-color decks that are nearly all basics, you just need a good ramp package. And again, with this one, you can run like 20 plus ramp spells and be doing great. Then yeah, you're going to be able to fix your mana well enough that you can cast your 5-color commander on curve pretty easily. Or even on turn 3 or 4 or whatever. So I guess depending on your budget, depending on your ramp, essentially. But yeah, turn 4 at least. So, and of course, being able to go get the exact land that you need. Again, you can go search your library for the exact mountain, that is the exact year that you need to actually pump Gen even further. So there you go. Moving on, obviously, there's even bigger ramp spells. Migration Path, a good flexible one. Basically, there's a lot of explosive vegetations. Eddie always joked that, hey, wizards must hate explosive vegetation because they keep making better versions of it. This is just explosive vegetation, go get 2 basics into play tapped. Again, that's 2 more years for you to go get and, pump Gen essentially. And also, you can cycle away for 2 if you don't want to do that. And then on top of that, of course, there's some giant ramp spells like Animus Awakening. And this one's just like, hey, let's just dump a ton of mana into this and see what happens. If you go to the top X cards of your library, put all land cards from them on the battlefield, tap the rest of them on your library in random order. There are 2 or more instant sorcery cards in your graveyard, untap those lands. Nice. So again, basically the further and further the game goes, the more mana you can dump into this. This can get you more lands off the top, and you might even get mana back from that if you've got, again, 2 or more instant sorceries in your graveyard, which you probably do. Again, if you've got this kind of ramp package that you're running, you can do some pretty crazy things with that. And again, get things going, get your commander pumped. Speaking of getting pumped though, yeah, there's plenty of other effective ways to do that. And Blackblade Forge, again, works with our ramp package. Equipped creature gets ++1 for each land you control. Very simple, very effective. Again, basically it's not going to double up, Gen's power, but it'll do nearly that. Essentially depends, I guess, what else you have in play. Obviously, this might just pump Gen, based on whatever year it is. That being said, yeah, being able to say going from, 8 power on Gen to like 16 plus power, you can do some pretty crazy things with that. And just, yeah, I guess I said 16 plus, but it'd be 16. You know what I mean? Being able to get Gen's power to, I think the crucial number is around 15 is where you can really get Gen, because once you get Gen to 15, you kind of can just win from there quite easily. Let's quickly go through some cards. Hey, Unleash Fury. This is the card, I believe this is the first card that really was about doubling up power, not just like, double strike or whatnot, but like actually doubling up power. It's one of the first ones, obviously, I believe. Double the power to our creature until on turn, instant speed. So again, you get Gen to 15 plus, you just cast this, all of a sudden Gen has 30 power. Again, it doesn't matter how many years of how many things are on the battlefield or whatnot. All you need to do is get Gen to 15 in one way or another. Again, whether that's, different years on cards or, Blackblade Forge cards like that. Get Gen to 15, double power, all of a sudden, yeah, that's going to be game over as soon as you attack. Or, you could just do it with exponential growth. This is a way to very easily get Gen, again, to 30 power. Again, there's a reason I said this is just crazy powerful with the right build around it, where it's not really even focusing on, again, all the years. Yeah, that's a nice little additional benefit, but using doubling effects on power can easily get you to 30. Till the end of turn, double target creature's power X times. So, again, if you put 4 mana into this in total, that's 1 mana into each of those X's, double it once. If you put 6 mana in there, double it twice. 8 mana in there, double it 3 times. And you're going to be, again, if you're building in the ramp package, easily able to put a lot of mana into this to the point where it's very easy for you to get Gen to, that point of 30. So again, if you're at, say, I think 8, right, would be, if you did 8 power, and then you put 6 mana into this, that's what? 8 times 2 is 16, times 2 is 32. So yeah, you'd be well over that. If you were able to double it 3 times, that would be even easier. I'm not going to do the math really quick right now, but you'd easily get there, okay? So yeah, this is a card that can just be, oh, I win. And essentially at a certain point with this kind of a commander. And yeah, a win condition that just says, again, not just taking a player out, but actually having you win like this, is pretty powerful, especially on a commander, again, one that you can get to that win condition quite easily. Next up, Two-Handed Axe. Again, one that kind of helps you out in different ways potentially. First of all, you can do the instant adventure, target creature control gains double strike until on turn. So yeah, you could probably take a player out with Gen, with, commander damage, because getting to 21 is even easier, obviously, than getting to 30. And hitting twice is going to help you take that player out if you got a way to get Gen through. Top of that, whenever equipped creature attacks, double its power until on turn. So yeah, equipping this to Gen just makes it so, again, if you are ever at that 15 mark, that's just basically game over, right? You can stack those triggers in the way you need to say, yeah, okay, Gen gets to 30, 30 plus, whatever it is. And then, yeah, my win condition trigger happens as well. Next up, yeah, you're going to want to be able to swing with Jen right away because maybe you save Jen just in your command zone until you're ready to essentially win once you're set up to do so. Do that. So yeah, get Jen out, equip Swiftfoot boots, Hexproof haste, swing right away, and then, yeah, okay, 30 power, sorry, you're gone. Bye-bye. I mean, you're all gone. Bye-bye, everyone. Bye-bye, everyone. So an easier way might just be actually something like Fires of Yavimaya. This doesn't protect Jen, but it does just kind of grant haste to all your creatures, right? Creature control of haste, cool. So you don't have to equip it, you don't have to pay any mana for that. And then also, if you need to, you can sacrifice and give target creature +2/+2 until turn. So if you need that little extra boost, again, you go to combat, you swing, and you're like, okay, cool, yeah, sacrifice +2/+2. Cool, yeah, you can get there with that. Moving on, let's talk about the pricier picks, because yeah, there's some even bigger effects that can help out Jen and get you to that amount of power that you need to win. And yeah, obviously your ramp package can change a little bit once you're at a higher budget. Card like Reshape the Earth can be huge. Again, 9 mana is a lot, but it's not a lot of mana if you are, doing a deck that can be dedicated to just ramping again and again and again. Search the library for the 10 land cards, fill in battlefield, tap, then shelf your library. This is massive. This is just, hey, you've got an absurd amount of resources, and also, yeah, you get just an extra 10 power to Jen, essentially, right? Because again, if you are building your entire deck, you're like, oh yeah, let's just make sure I spread out, my lands, essentially, when it comes to years. You can have at least 30 different years. I mean, I guess exactly 30 different years, because 30 years of Magic. 30 different years, essentially, when it comes to, your different lands, essentially. Just get those into play, +10/+10 to Jen. Also get you way ahead of your opponents, cast your other spells. And this isn't restricted to just basic land, so please keep that in mind. Moving on, yeah, you also get access to a lot more doubling effects. Nath of the Dire Hunt. Whenever one of your creatures you control fighter comes block, draw a card. That's nice, but more importantly, beginning of combat your turn, you may pay 2 in a gruel. If you do, double target creature's power until end of turn. The creature must be blocked this combat if able. Cool, the must be blocked does not matter because, again, the game is over once you're doubling that up. So yeah, having a repeatable 3-mana effect out in play to say, oh yeah, if I ever get Jen to, again, 15 plus, I just win. Goddess Roll Notice, another one. This is basically, hey, ETB, double the power of all the creatures that you control until end of turn. They get Vigilance too. Again, nice. Not really all that necessary. If this is ever dealt with, if you have to get it down earlier for some reason, it goes in your library third from the top. So yeah, you can just actually keep getting it back, ensure that you can pump Jen to the point that you need to win. And obviously, if you got some blink effects too, for whatever reason, you can really use and abuse this. Again, you get Jen 2, again, when I say 8, and then you just double, blink it once, double it again. Cool. Game over. Speaking of game over, Unnatural Growth. This one is just a crazy good card. At the beginning of each combat, double the power and toughness of each creature you control until end of turn. This one does have restrictive casting costs, I will say. Again, 1 green, 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 green. 4 green mana in there, very restrictive. That being said, again, you got ramp. You got plenty of ways to ramp and fix your mana. So you can probably cast even something like this in a 5-color deck with the right build. And again, just a permanent way to say, oh yeah, if I basically get to combat on my turn with my commander, and my commander has 16 or 15 power essentially, right? Hey, I just win. I guess I need something to attack, but I basically just win. And of course, we got yet another one more recently, Zopandrall Hunger Dominus. This one's on a creature again, 7 mana. That's nothing for a ramp deck. Beginning of combat each turn, double the power toughness of each creature you control until end of turn. Again, basically the exact same thing. And of course, this one is hard to deal with. Pay Phyrexian green, sacrifice 2 other creatures, get an indestructible counter on this. Not that really big of a cost, so with the right build, pretty easy to actually get that out, and then just make sure that it's really hard to deal with. And then, hey, you know what? Well, you've got this, which can hit a really hard, but also your commander can hit really hard and just win for you quite easily. Next up, Hatred. A very expensive card on the reserve list. This card is crazy good, but also just crazy good with this commander too. This one's kind of a cheaty way to just win. This is very cheaty. Instant for 5 mana. Pay X life. Target creature gets +X/+0 until end of turn. I mean, that's an old way of that it was worded, but still, you know what I mean, basically. What it is, hey, when you're paying life, you just pay a certain amount of life, and you say, yeah, my creature gets plus this much power, essentially. And, again, let's just say Jen is even at, I don't even know how, I guess 5. Let's say Jen is just at 5 power, right? You've got 5 lands in play. Cool. Yeah, let's just cast Hatred, pay 25 life, swing, I win. Yay. Super easy, again, with a card like this. But yeah, again, this one's quite expensive, but if you get the budget for it with this kind of a commander, yeah, that could be a home run swing to end the game. Speaking of which, Miles Aria. This one says, this one's kind of like a alternative win condition in a different way, and actually it's easier to get to in one way, but also not as easy to get to. Beginning of your upkeep, you get a counter on each creature you control. If you control a creature with power 5 or greater, then you gain 10 life. If you control a creature with power 10 or greater, then you win the game. If you control a creature with power 20 or greater. So, This one does have an upkeep trigger requirement, which is definitely harder to actually get to than just combat on your turn, essentially, or, the attack trigger on your turn, essentially. Because, yeah, your commander's got to survive one trooper on the table while being at 30 power, essentially. So that's not quite as easy. Again, some of those doubling effects that might be, sorcery speed, those might not help you, obviously, with this. That being said, this is just another avenue to victory that you can get to. Again, if you're getting your commander to, 30 power, it's even easier to get to 20 power. Might be harder to keep it alive, but that being said, if you've got ways to keep it around, you can get to yet another win condition with this. Obviously, at this price point, you also have access to lightning greaves. Basically, probably better than Swiftfoot boots in this in some ways, but also worse in some ways. Equipped creature has haste and shroud equipped 0. Keep in mind, this is a free way to grant haste, which is fantastic. Essentially, again, being able to swing right away and protect your commander is great. That being said, Shroud, not great when it comes to something that's like Unleash Fury. Again, doubling up the power of target creature. Make sure you double up Jen's power before that. Otherwise, you won't be able to do that because, again, Shroud makes so you can't target. So keep that in mind. But yeah, you've got even more access to even more, haste avenues that can help you win. Finally, you'd probably want some free counter spells as well. Because, again, all your opponents are going to be gunning for your commander. They're going to be trying to stop your commander because they all lose if you just swing once with this 30 power commander. And being able to have a free counter spell like Fierce Guardianship can definitely help. You control your commander, you may cast a spell and pay its mana cost counter. And spell, this card is overpowered. I think it just got a reprint as well, so its price went down a little bit. Still a $25 card. That being said, yeah, a very good effect. And if you are going to be trying to pull off this alternative win condition with a commander that literally just says, hey, this is how I'm trying to win on it, your opponents are going to be trying their best to stop you. And again, if you get to that point where you're about to swing with a 30 power creature, they're going to be like, Swords to Plowshares. They're going to try to take it out as much as they can. So having those free counter spells can definitely be a way to surprise them and keep Gen Con around. And the name's just kind of funny. Again, it's like Gen Con. Great. Anyways, yeah, that's where it was previewed or revealed. But yeah, let me know what your thoughts are on, oh goodness, I just messed up the name again. Confider of Ages, there we go. Again, Gen Con, Confider of Ages, there we go. So let me know your thoughts on that. Do you think a card like this could ever exist? Do you think it should exist? Do you think that this is overpowered? Do you think it's not overpowered? What kind of cards did I not bring up on this episode that you would utilize with Confider of Ages? So yeah, let me know in the comments below. And of course, as always, thanks again and have a good one.
This show and episodes like this one are possible thanks to viewers like you. If you're looking for an easy way to help support this show, make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. Also, hit that bell notification icon so you don't miss any new episodes. You can also go check out our playmats and other merchandise at thecommandersquarters.com. We also have a ton of brand new t-shirt designs in stock, so make sure you check out those as well. Another easy way to support this show is with our TCG Player affiliate links. So whether you're buying a deck or individual cards, you can use this general link right here or one in the description. And the final way that you can support this show is by supporting us directly by becoming a patron. There are many benefits to being a patron, and I truly couldn't do this without all of their support.